Hey, today I'm going to do a review on Biz Shake. But before I do, I wanted to say thanks for everyone that's been watching the videos and checking out my content. I really appreciate it. If you could throw me a thumbs up and subscribe, I'd appreciate that. Uh, I really want to start up my channel to go over things that are kind of going under the radar. Maybe not everyone's talking about, but I think have some value. This is one of them. It's Biz Shake. It is every now and then still, in this field of space, I get surprised at the technology and what we're doing. This is one of them. It's a person-to-person sharing ecosystem. It's on Neo, tokenizing of real-world assets. Basically, what they want to do, what they're setting up is a person-to-person rental and pawning service, which it kind of really threw me a little bit. So I thought it was interesting. I looked into it. This can get a little technical, um, and a little hard to follow, but the idea is so simple. The plan is so simple, but what makes it all work can be a little confusing. Um, they do have a couple, videos, which one of the people on their team is a really good graphics designer, so I'm sure they had a hand in setting those up. They're pretty informative. Um, Basically, there are two different parts: the rental, the smart rent, and the smart pawn. I'll go over them separately. Uh, and I know there's a lot of questions that's just going to bring up right away. I had them, but their uh, their website and their white paper did answer pretty much all my questions on it. Um, Smart rent's pretty simple. It's basically looking at how Uber and Airbnb and things like that have really changed our lives, uh, as far as people using their own assets, um, professionally, and kind of taking out the middleman and just putting, the person with what somebody wants in touch with the person that needs it, whether it's a ride or whether it's a place to stay. And in this case, it kind of opens it up to pretty much everything. Um, and the centralization part of it would be like Uber or Airbnb. They're there to be the trust. Um, you as far as if you get in a ride with Uber, you have a rating system and other things you can see to know if that person is going to be a good driver or it's going to be a good experience. But when it comes to the actual purchase and the payment of it, that you're putting all of your trust and your information with Uber itself. So they're giving you the trust aspect of the transaction, and that's why they take a pretty good chunk of the charge, with their fees. The fees that BizShake's going to take out of the Smart Rent and Smart Pawn are a lot lower, so things end up being a lot cheaper. Um, Also, just the charges that they would charge for like a pawn or a rent are going to be a lot lower to begin with. Um, the renting is basically very simple. You get a rental fee and deposit. Everything's locked in a smart contract with both of them. Um, you send your the asset will be transferred from the leaseor to the leasee. So basically, when you pay the fee, the money's locked in a smart contract. You get sent the item. You have it for this specific period of time. Then you send it back. And the deposit gets unlocked, and the person that you rented it from gets the money from the smart contract. Um, Pretty simple. There is what's called a smart dispute. If any part of any of these transactions goes awry, you can institute the smart dispute. Um, it it creates a case. You submit that case. It gets reviewed by five uh, people that have a very high rating. Then their decision is it's like a redundancy is looked at, and then after the dispute, the verdict is given, then you would get whatever compensation is what you would have applied for in the beginning of the dispute. Um, this is really good for so many things, but if you don't want to have to buy something that you're only going to use a couple times in the next few years, or once or twice, and then by the time you need to use it again, it might even be out of date. Like if I wanted to make some kind of video and I needed some really expensive camera, rather than go spend $2,000-3,000 on a camera, I could rent it, use it, send it back. Whereas if I bought the camera, I could say, well, I could use it whenever, and I'd probably use it, 2 or 3 times. But a year or two from now, I would need a new camera, something that was, more advanced, and the $3,000 I spent on that camera would be kind of wasted. So unless it's something that you're going to use a lot, then this is really, really, really a good thing for you. The smart pawn, pretty much the same way. Assets transferred to the pawner or the lender. The loan amount is transferred to the lender's from the lender to the pawner's wallet. After the agreed upon time period and the loan and the interest is paid back, then you get the item back. Once you get it back and it's fine, then everything gets released to the lender. Like I said, once again, every step of the way, you have if there's any kind of problem, you can initiate the smart dispute. I pretty much went over what these are. The smart dispute, I'll just read over it. So, Biz hake will implement a decentralized dispute system that's based on peer control. It goes exactly the way of the full-scale implementation of the complete peer-to-peer sharing economy. Users will help other users to judge and settle disputes. Moreover, the verdict of a single arbiter will undergo peer, like I said, it'll go through like a peer review even after the verdict is made by them before the decision is final. Now, the other step of it is the smart certify, which I didn't go over. Whenever you have an item, like let's say you wanted to get you wanted to pawn something, and there's two aspects to this. One, let's say I have a Rolex and I want to go on vacation, or I need to fix my car, whatever. I can take my Rolex and go to one of the smart certifiers, and they're going to verify its authenticity, that it's working, all that. Then I can pawn my Rolex to whoever, get the loan, take care of what I need to take care of, and then pay them back. Smart Certify will adopt an innovative blockchain concept called non-fungible tokens and will implement an affiliation program to involve a certifier users in order to greatly reduce fake or broken objects of high-value assets. On the other hand, it will allow users to grant the authenticity of the asset they are sharing with the community. Basically, also, if I used to work for Rolex, then I could be a watch certifier. I could certify it, and then that would be my credibility of why I could certify watches and how much they're worth, if they're functioning, what the quality or the quality is as far as wear and tear, that kind of thing. When there's another part, didn't go over into too much, but the smart certify, once they certify it, it says that they'll be trackable on the blockchain. I assume they're going to put in an RFID chip. I don't know that, just assumption based on what I've read. But it'll be, they said it will be trackable after it's certified. Smart identify. Now this, with a trust, dealing peer-to-peer, the trust is based on a like a kind of like a report or a rating system. But if you don't have any, it's kind of like, how do I get credit if I don't have any credit and I've never got credit? It would be through the smart identify. This is a little bit centralized, but Biz hake will implement smart AI algorithm to calculate a person's profile, ID, and level of credibility through multiple data like government stuff, financial stuff, that kind of thing to give your profile credibility to use on the network. So if you wanted to submit that, you'd submit that, and then you would gain more credibility to get better deals and other things. And the Smart API, Smart API will provide other business owners with the possibility to implement more applications based on Biz hake's business logic and AI algorithms for the vertical markets, specific asset classes, and languages. It's one thing when I go over the team, they do have a lot of international experience, which is pretty cool. Low fee, leveraging on the blockchain technologies. The fee applied by Biz hake is as low as 5% of each transaction value in order to cover our business development marketing operation costs, 5% for a rental fee from the smart rent, and 5% interest from the smart pawn. These fees will be automatically deducted from the rental interest. So it's a lot lower. I really didn't know before how much the companies like Uber and Lyft and Airbnb, how much they take out of the money you pay before they give it to the other person. It's a chunk, but they are giving you the trust and guarantee and everything. Decentralization is one of the major pillars of blockchain technology, and we believe this is the most appropriate way to implement real person-to-person applications. The concept of decentralization itself is what allows users to trade with themselves without the need of intermediaries. Therefore, it greatly reduces the cost and fee for users to involved in the transactions. Easy to use. It is pretty. I mean, it can look like it's going to be a little bit confusing and complicated, but it does seem like it'd be very easy to use. The goal of Biz hake is to achieve scalability in our user base. For this reason, we're working hard on our user interface in order to grant the best user experience. Smart Rent and Smart Pawn will be available in many languages in order to satisfy different linguistic requirement. Biz hake smart contracts will facilitate easy access to our business functionalities. Scalability, they're on the Neo blockchain, one of the fastest blockchains there is. They're doing 1,000 transactions per second right now. They should scale up to even higher. Multi-platform, they're going to be, tablet, mobile, PC. They should be on, every different platform there is. The team is important and it is decent. I'd say good. They don't put a lot in their bios here. I did go through their LinkedIn's and kind of look into them a little bit deeper. I don't know why they don't put much into it, because these four appear, they are rock stars. This lady was the only one I wasn't 100% sure of being a rock star, because she doesn't have as much experience as these other guys, but the experience that she has is very impressive. She even interned with Louis Vuitton after she got out of college. So she rock star on the marketing. They're very Italian. Obviously, there's two Giuseppes, so they're super Italian. They have a lot of experience in the fashion industry and sales through in both China, Italy, Switzerland. Most of the IT experience is with Internet of Things and blockchain, so pretty impressed there. Also, the amount of years that they have in. I mean, he has 15. I think he had like 20. So they've been in it a while. Their advisors. It's a big advisor in ICOs. There's two lawyers, which I'm really glad to see, because this is, like I said, kind of a convoluted area they're getting into. This would be a rock star of attorneys. He is pretty amazing. His bio that I read through on his LinkedIn. Um, Token distribution, 50% is going to be sold at ICO, which, like I always say, is the minimum for me to say it's good. I'd like to see it at 55 or 60, but 50% is a good amount. I do like that they're only keeping 15% for the founders, so that is a plus, and 5% for the advisors. 30% is in reserve. I like how they have a big marketing campaign. I think they're really going to hit it hard and really get the word out there. When it comes to a lot of projects, they really focus, and I think they think it's admirable, which I guess it is, to just focus on getting things done and working on the tech and all that, but to not, you know, push themselves out there. But if nobody uses it, nobody knows about it and gets involved in it, then it doesn't. It kind of defeats the purpose. So I am glad that they're going to. Looks like they're going to do a really big marketing campaign to really get it out there. Um, Roadmap. It's a little long. Started back in October. We're here where they're releasing the Smart Pawn, Smart Dispute, and Smart Rent alphas. Then August, September, the Smart API alpha and Smart Certify, and the Smart Contract deployed. Then October, November, they're going to release the betas. December, it looks like that's when they're going to start the marketing at the end of the year. So they're going to come into 2019 is when I think it's really going to take off. Are going to start, moving forward. That's when they release their Smart Certified Beta and the Smart Identify Alpha. Smart Rent and Smart Dispute go live in Q1. Q2, Smart Certified Business Partnerships and Customer Service Team hired. And then Q3, the Smart API goes live and the Smart Pawn goes live. So the Smart Pawn is going to be the last thing, which is kind of good because from what I went over, that's the most confusing, the most steps, that's the most intricate one. So I'm glad that they're focused on the other ones first, getting everything done and out there, and then launching that last. And then Smart Certify goes live, and Smart Identity Beta. The one pager is not great because it is everything we just went over. Less than everything we just went over. It's just this page. These pages here are really small. But the white paper is pretty good. It's about 30-some pages long. I'm not going to go over too much of it. You can look over it because this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, and you should always do your own research. So read over the white paper. This just goes into a little bit of like fees that come out for a lot of the person-to-person things that are out there now. I'll go over the steps or the lattice here of this is the Smart Rent. It's actually the easier one of the two. And then it's, you pay the rental fee, you get the item, you send the item back. It's simple. The Smart Pawn, basically, if you're going to loan someone money and hold their product, you're going to get an interest rate, you're going to get fees, so you're going to make money on that. So that is the incentive there. If you're going to pawn something, you're going to get more money doing it this way than taking it to a local pawn shop because the fees are a lot less. So transaction sign, loan amount pre-authorized by smart contract into the lender's wallet. The pawner sends the asset to the lender. The lender rejects it. If you sent me, something that wasn't what it was supposed to be, then it gets sent back, and you go through this side, or you get it, confirm it. Smart contract transfers a loan to the pawner. Now you have the money. If you don't ever pay for it back, which is like if you don't pay for the item at the pawn shop, then there's two options. One, the lender could activate the smart dispute, or they keep the item. Like a pawn shop, they could keep it and sell it. Or you get the loan, and you pay the loan and interest from the pawnter. The smart contract block this amount in the lender's wallet, the deposit for the guarantee, and the lender sent back the asset to the pawnter. So you send back the item. Then the person gets the item in the original or expected condition. The smart contract unlocks the deposit in the lender's wallet. We're done. Or if they send it back and they're like, "Hey, this is something interesting. I'll go over," because it's not all cut and dry. It's not 100%. This smart dispute is kind of cool. Let's say I pawn my camera, and then everything goes great, but I get my camera back, and there's a scratch on it. I'm not happy about that. I sent you a camera that was perfect, and now there's a scratch. It still works, everything's fine, but cosmetically, I'm not happy with this scratch. I can initiate a smart dispute. Get the 5 people together, and I can basically give that in my case. I sent in a perfect camera. I got back a camera. It still works. I have this scratch here. I'm not happy with the scratch. Now, I can do my smart dispute for 10, 15% of the value of the camera. So it's not like, hey, I don't want this camera anymore. There's a scratch on it. Or I have to send it back. The guy gets the camera. He loses out on all the money that he would have made. And then I lose my camera, but I get the money. Doesn't work that way. I can literally just say I want 10% or 15% for the cosmetic damage on this camera. That wasn't like that when I sent it. Then they would review it. If they approve it, and then their peer review approves it, then I would get my 10% of the value back from the smart contract, and then the pawnter or the loaner would get the rest of the money back. So it's kind of cool. I mean, if you take your item into a pawn shop and they scratch it, there's not a lot you can do. They're just gonna say, I wasn't like that. It was scratched when you brought it in. Sorry, take it. Whereas if you use the smart certify, then there was no scratch before you sent it. Now you got a scratch on it. You can get compensated for it. Kind of cool. That is about it when it comes to Biz Shake. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. They do have a lot of social media. Let me see if it's on those. They have a Telegram. They have a Facebook. They have. That was part of the. The roadmap. I think was. Where was it? A presence on social networks. That was back in March and February. So they are out there. You can join the Telegram right from their website. I'll put a link to the website in the description, as well as my Twitter and a link to my store. Look there. There's a lot of cool stuff. And like I said, if you throw me a like and a subscribe, I appreciate it. You guys take care. Bye-bye.